Welcome to another payment gateway integration video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to implement Cybersource Microform integration method on a React Native app and accept payments on a React Native app using Cybersource. So if you haven't watched it yet, please watch my previous Microform implementation video. The Microform is a payment method that allows you to customize your own payment form. So you build your payment form using HTML, React.js, or whatever, and then you use JavaScript library, this JavaScript library called Microform, to turn that HTML form that you created into an actual card collection form and use it to collect payment information. So in that video, I implemented it for a React.js app. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the same, but in a React Native app for a mobile app. So here on the right side, I have a demo of what the actual result would look like. This is a sample shopping app. You add things to the cart, you go to the checkout page, and then your form will load here seamlessly in your app. Now this is a web page, technically speaking. This is a web view, but we make it blend seamlessly that it looks like it's almost native to the app. And then you can pay using it, hit pay. And then I'm going to also show you how to perform 3DS within the app in the same web view that you use for the form, like this. Here we render the 3DS page within the app checkout page here. There it is. And then you enter your OTP, submit, 3DS authentication gets complete. And then when it gets complete, the payment is done. And then after the payment is done, your web view will inform your app that the payment is done. And then we dismiss the web view and replace it with the app's native interface that says card is added or payment is done. Here I put card is added, which is a typo on my part. Anyways, that was the demo. And now I'm going to show you how to implement this on a React Native app template that doesn't have Microform is implemented. Here we are starting with the same app, but it doesn't have a checkout page embedded in it, just a placeholder and a button that doesn't do anything. I'm gonna remove this and I'm gonna replace it with a web view that displays the Microform. So the first step to do this will actually not be working in the app, in the React Native app. We need to work in React.js and create the payment form there. Now in theory, you can implement the Microform using a pure HTML, but I find it easier for me to implement it in a small React.js app with one page. So our first step will be to create a React.js app here. To do that, I'll just run this command inside my React Native project folder. Okay, create the React.js project. Now let's go into that folder. Let me zoom in so you can see and run it. Here's what it looks like now. I'm gonna clean this up and make it empty, an empty page instead. So I'm gonna go into the source folder inside the React.js project, go to my app and delete all of that and just start fresh. Okay, now in this empty app, I'm going to implement Cybersource Microform integration with 3DS. So I already have a video covering how to implement this in a React.js project. Just check that video, link in the description box below and somewhere here, one of the cards in the video. So click on that, watch that. That's going to tell you how to implement Microform with 3DS in this web app. Once you implement that there, you're going to end up with a UI that looks like this. Notice how I'm trying to make the button fits as much as possible as the parent view and the form fits as much as possible as the parent view so that it can be seamless in the app. And I'm making the background color of my form the same background color in the app so that the user can't tell that it's a web view. Also, here in public under index.html, inside the head component, here in this meta tag, the one that says viewport, I have initial scale equal 1 and in width device width. But I need to ensure that it also has the following: maximum scale 1, user scalable to no. Why? This will prevent that when the user interacts with the web view that contains this in the React Native app, it won't just zoom in automatically instead, so that it stays on a fixed. So make sure this is here in the index.html inside the public folder. Anyways, when you implement Microform in React.js, you're going to end up with one component that has the Microform in it, looks like this, and then your Microform will be here. This is my payment form HTML, expiry, and then the CSC. And then I also have a loading indicator that shows up when the Microform is loading or when the payment is being done. You also need to make sure that's seamless with your React Native app. So if you're using Material UI in React Native app, make sure you're also using Material UI in the React.js app. And my button. Now when the button is clicked, pay button clicked, this get called, this and my button. Now, as soon as this component mounts, use effect over here gets called, this method specific create form. This will request a microform session to set and then set up the microform JavaScript library. This is explained in the video that I'll link below. And then when the payment button is clicked over here, this method will get called. This will collect the card information and then tokenize them and then start the 3DS process here. Send payment will get the authentication data that we received from the server side. As you can see, it's getting passed here in the method. And then send an API request to my server to perform the payment using the transient token that was generated using Microform, currency, amount, and the authentication data. Now the amount over here, I passed that from my React Native app to my WebView like this method. This method just gets the amount as a query param from the WebView URL. And I'm gonna show you later how that looks like in the React Native app. Anyways, the payment request gets sent and then I received a response from my payment API. That will have a status parameter in it and you're gonna read that. If it's authorized and the payment is successful, and then I'm gonna redirect to this URL, success, with the reference ID here. If not, then I'm gonna redirect to this path which says failed. And then this is what my React Native will detect within the WebView to then close the WebView and display the result of the payment to the user. And I'll show you that in a bit. So let's go ahead and test this microform here before we use it in our React Native app. There you go, we get the 3DS page, hit submit, and then the payment will be done after the 3DS is complete. And then here, as you can tell, the payment was successful, so it redirected to this path /success and appended the payment order ID, also known as reference, to the end of the URL so that my React Native can read it from the WebView. Okay, so this is the microform step. Now let's go and implement it in the app. Now for testing, I'm gonna leave this React.js app running on localhost, but eventually I should be deploying it to URL, which I'm gonna use in my WebView. This is the code for my React Native app. I need one dependency here, which is React Native WebView. So let's go ahead and install this. And then once we install it, we need to install it also in pods, like this, cd ios pod install. And then let's go back to our original directory. Okay, so that is done. Let's rebuild the app to make sure everything is still running okay. Good, our app is intact after installing the WebView package. Had to double check because in React Native things could break after you install anything. Okay, now we need to work on this checkout screen component, which renders this. So over here, we need to remove all of this placeholder here. Let me just show you the simulator. We need to remove all of this over here, except maybe the total, and then replace it with our payment form. And that's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna get rid of this place order button. We're gonna get rid of this thing over here. And I'm gonna move this total over here to be right under my cart items. Okay, now here, I'm gonna embed my WebView. But before I do that, I need to create two state variables here. Payment form visible and set payment result. Payment result is gonna contain the order ID. If the order ID is null, it means that payment failed. If the payment ID is not null, then I'm gonna consider that as payment successful. This just makes my coding easier. You don't have to do it this way. And then payment form is gonna determine if the WebView is visible or not. So here under payment, I'm gonna do payment form visible. If yes, I'm gonna display the WebView. If not, I'm gonna display something else, like the result. I'm gonna give the parent of my WebView a style, which is gonna set the height of the WebView also. It's very important. Here, you need to make sure that there's enough height for the WebView to show. And I don't need padding. I don't need border color. I don't need border style. I don't need border width. I just need background color, height, and that's it. Now I gotta put my WebView here. WebView goes here. I gotta give it a style. And I'm gonna put the URL that hosts the WebView where the host web page that's gonna contain the microform. And because I'm running it on the simulator, it's gonna be this localhost for me. Then in production, it's gonna be wherever I deploy my microform React app. I'm gonna make it start in loading state, make the font size big enough, and I'm gonna make it mobile view because we're inside an app. I also need to inject this code over here to make sure that when I interact with the WebView, it doesn't zoom in the page. accidentally. So this prevents that. You can inject it like this. And because I did start in loading state, I also need to tell it which loading indicator to use, which is going to be this. And now this part is very important. I need to detect changes in the URL inside the WebView, and I can do it using this. This will return a nav variable, which you can use to react to changes in the URL. So when it's a redirect to success, you react accordingly. When you redirect it to failed, you react accordingly. And you would do that like this. Here, we'll check if the URL that got redirected to has success in it, which is our callback that we set in the React.js app. Where is it? Here. Then you're gonna get the reference ID for the order from that URL, which we get also here, and set it in the state variable, and then close the WebView like this. If it's failed, we're just gonna close the WebView, and then we're gonna keep payment result to null. Just make it explicit just in case. When the payment form is not visible, which will render this, here we need to display the result of the payment, because when the WebView is not visible, it means the payment's done. And here we're gonna implement a conditional rendering based on the payment result state variable. If it's not null, then I'm gonna display a text that says payment number or hashtag payment result is successful and the order is on the way. If not, then I'm gonna say payment failed, check card info, and try again. And then I'm gonna also give them a button that they can use to retry the payment, which will just set the payment form to visible again, show the WebView again when they press it, but I need to wrap this inside a view. Yeah, and that should be all. Now let's go ahead and try this. Add some items to the cart. Oh, I forgot to include the activity indicator in my dependencies here. So over here, just go, you have alerts, style sheet, and all that stuff. Just include activity indicator. Let's try again. Okay. Now we're getting our WebView. We can try a payment, hit pay. This is all happening inside a WebView, a web page that is seamlessly blending in here in the app. Now I'm getting 3DS, submit, and it's gonna send the payment API request. And then if it's successful, it's gonna redirect. My WebView is gonna detect that redirection, dismiss the payment form, and then it's gonna say payment number, this is successful and the order is on the way. And that's how we implement Cybersource Microform integration method on a React Native app. And that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If it was helpful, hit like or subscribe to get more videos. And if you want to get the full source code that we used in this video to get yourself a quick start in the coding, please get it from the Patreon link in the description box below. In there, you can support the channel. And as a thank you, we give the full source code that we use in every video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.